Hello YouTube. As promised, we're going to be talking about holsters in this video, and actually in this series of videos. I have a couple of videos back to back here that I'm going to end up doing all in one sitting, so we'll just jump right in. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about holsters in general and what to look for in a good holster, and then I'm going to move on into the actual demonstrating of the holsters, and we'll get into what they, their function, all that kind of stuff. There are typically 4 different types of holster material that is used to make holsters out of, and that is leather, Kydex, plastic, and some type of fabric, whether it be nylon or something of the sort. Now, I know that Kydex is a type of plastic. It is actually a little bit of a stronger type of plastic that is a little bit more brittle, actually, but it doesn't give as much. It's also very thin. And it's pretty strong. It's a pretty strong type of plastic. But here's Kydex here. It also doesn't wear on your gun as much as, say, leather does. Now, leather does wear on your gun a little bit more, but I like leather and I like Kydex because they have the best retention. Now, plastic, and one of the reasons I like Kydex is because it's so stiff. It doesn't give much, which plastic can give a little bit more, and it can make your gun stick in the holster a little bit more than Kydex does. Kydex is a real sharp, a real nice in and out, snap in, snap out. This is a Kydex holster here. Like I said, leather does wear a little bit. It wears on the ports because it's more of like a polishing. It's like if you were to polish something, you would use leather. And so you might get a little bit of holster wear, but it does have very good retention. Now, I'm not a big fan of your fabric holsters, and one of the reasons being retention. Now, when I talk about retention, what I am mostly talking about now, there are such things as retention holsters that have either some kind of retention device. This particular one, this is my shoulder holster here, a Galco Miami Classic Light, and this actually has a retention strap that goes around the very butt of the gun, which keeps the gun inside the holster, which is great. I do not, that's the only retention holster that I have in all of my concealed carry holsters. Now, personally, and this is a personal thing, I do not like retention devices on my carry holsters because you already have to get underneath your cover garment. You have the element of surprise. You don't want to waste that extra time by having to undo a retention device, whereas if you didn't have to get underneath the cover garment and it was just right there out in the open, say you were a police officer or you were open carrying or military, whatever, you could more easily disengage that retention device and go ahead and engage your firearm if you needed to. But for concealed carry purposes, don't particularly care for retention straps to be on my holsters. But again, that's a personal thing. If you like retention straps on your holsters, by all means, go to town. But you just won't see any in my collection because I don't buy them. Now, when I talk about natural retention, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of demonstration and tell you what you should be looking for and why I do not prefer nylon or your fabric holsters over leather and your Kydex. Now, I have a nylon holster here. This is a simple little DeSantis $10 cheapo holster, and DeSantis makes some very fine leather holsters. In fact, I have a DeSantis, where'd it go? I did have it. Wherever it went. I have a very nice DeSantis small in the back holster that I love, which is in leather. But this particular one is kind of going to be the example of a bad example. Now, I'm going to go ahead and insert this one. I'm going to go ahead and show you first. This is a unloaded, no magazine. Now, one of the reasons that I do not like your cloth is because a good holster, you should be able to holster your firearm, turn the holster upside down, and your gun should stay in it. Now, it's staying in it because I am actually kind of holding it The moment I kind of let it go, it falls right out. Shook it just a little bit, but you should be able to hold your firearm in the holster completely upside down, give it just a little bit of a shake, and your firearm should not fall out. Now, why is that important? Well, for instance, if you have to run, or if you trip and you fall, I will attest to this, your gun will work its way free and it's Murphy's Law. If it can go wrong, it will happen, and you'll end up with your gun spilling out on the sidewalk or in the middle of the mall, which did happen on one occasion, and it makes for a very awkward situation. So you want your natural retention. To give you a good example, here's one of my favorite holsters in the whole wide world. This is made by UBG holsters. You can go ahead and insert it here. I can turn it upside down, shake it all I want, and it's not going to fall out. That natural retention holds it in, keeps it nice and secure. I could trip, I could fall, I could run, I could do anything I need to do. The gun's not going to fall out of this holster. But yet at the same time, it has enough of a good form to it where it doesn't grip it to the point where it inhibits the draw. Also, when it comes to Kydex, a nice Kydex here, because Kydex can be formed, it's formed around the trigger guard to hold around the trigger guard. Gun won't fall out. And shake it all day long. And if I loosen it up a little bit too much to the point where the gun will fall out, I can tighten these retention screws here, make it tighter so that it will not fall out. And like I said, I can shake this one all day long. It's not going to fall out, but yet it has a nice, crisp, in and out snap to it, so it doesn't inhibit the draw at all. So that's what I mean by natural retention. That's one of the things that you really want to look for in a good quality holster. Next, now also on the ways of gun retention, on the line of gun retention, most of the holsters that you are going to see here have some means to connect them to the belt. This particular holster here is a belt slide holster. You put your belt straight through it. So is this one. This is a Galco Avenger. The belt goes right through it. This particular one, even though it is a snap holster, it goes all the way around the belt and is secured. And it's secured in such a way that you have to pull it off in a direct manner. It will not just pull free of the belt. And one of the reasons for this is you do not want a holster that someone can grab just the entire gun and your holster and pull it off. This just has a clip. If it's pulled hard enough, it can break, and again, like I said, Murphy's Law, if it can go wrong, it probably will go wrong. Your holster can break, and then they have the gun and the holster. Even something like this is an in-the-waistband holster. Now, this does have clips, but they go entirely around the belt. So it is belt supported. They would have to, and then the belt goes around the outside of the holster and holds the holster close to the body, so they would have to get through the belt in order to get to the holster. But if you clipped something like this on the outside of your clothing and it pulled hard enough, they could end up with the gun and your holster. And part of the reason for getting a good holster is to keep your gun where it's supposed to be, gun retention, inside the holster, on your body, so that no one else can take it. So those are some hints on purchasing a holster, or on what to look for in a holster. You don't want anything that just is basically a step above just sticking it in your waistband. So from there, we're going to go right on into demonstrating some of the holsters, and then we're going to go on to a little bit more of the biggest part of my, thing is the gun retention. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at the very end. So we'll get into, I'm going to start with out of the waistband holsters and move right on from there.